Proverbs, chapter 1. The Proverbs of Solomon, the son of David, king of Israel. To know wisdom and instruction, to comprehend the words of understanding, to receive the discipline of wisdom, justice, and right, and equity, to give prudence to the simple, the young man knowledge and discretion, that the wise man may hear, and increase in learning, and the man of understanding may attain unto wise counsels. To understand a proverb and a figure, the words of the wise and their dark sayings. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but the foolish despise wisdom and discipline. Hear, my son, the instruction of your father, and forsake not the teaching of your mother, for they shall be a chaplet of grace unto your head, and chains about your neck. My son, if sinners entice you, consent you not. If they say, Come with us, and let us lie in wait for blood, let us lurk for the innocent without cause, let us swallow them up alive as the grave, and whole as those that go down into the pit. We shall find all precious substance, we shall fill our houses with spoil. Cast in your lot among us, let us all have one purse. My son, walk not you in the way with them. Restrain your foot from their path, for their feet run to evil, and they make haste to shed blood. For in vain the net is spread in the eyes of any bird, and these lie in wait for their own blood. They look for their own lives. So are the ways of every one that is greedy of gain. It taketh away the life of the owners thereof. Wisdom crieth aloud in the streets. She utters her voice in the broad places. She calls at the head of the noisy streets, at the entrances of the gates. In the city she uttereth her words. How long, you thoughtless, will you love thoughtlessness? And how long will scorners delight them in scorning, and fools hate knowledge? Turn you at my reproof. Behold, I will pour out my spirit unto you. I will make known my words unto you. Because I have called, and you refused. I have stretched out my hand, and no man attended. But you have set at naught all my counsel, and would none of my reproof. I also in your calamity will laugh. I will mock when your dread comes, when your dread comes as a storm, and your calamity comes on as a whirlwind. When trouble and distress come upon you, then will they call me, but I will not answer. They will seek me earnestly, but they shall not find me. For they that hated knowledge, and did not choose the fear of the Lord, they would none of my counsel. They despised all my reproof. Therefore shall they eat of the fruit of their own way, and be filled with their own devices. For the waywardness of the thoughtless shall slay them, and the confidence of fools shall destroy them. But whoso hearkeneth unto me shall dwell securely, and shall be quiet without fear of evil. All right, let's go back up to verse 1. Now today we're starting a new book, a new teaching. Today we have Solomon. Solomon was the son of David, as it's announced in verse 1 here, or in the heading. And these are the Proverbs. The word proverb is mashal, and mashal is a old saying. It's like an old saying or a speech, or these sayings, kind of like little old sayings. What goes around comes around, that kind of speech. It kind of holds itself across time. And this is what we got here. We got these proverbs, or these sayings of Solomon. Solomon means peace. Solomon, he's the son of David. He's the one that come forth from the beloved. He was the king of Israel. And that's the ones that contend. We'll find that these proverbs here, or these old sayings, is a way to keep knowledge across time. It's a way to keep knowledge across time to those that have it. And it's even these instructions. It's even a speech that's used by those of knowledge to instruct others. We'll find out those that can hear, those that can listen, and are looking for these words of instruction and these words of knowledge and wisdom. And this book here is kind of like an open letter. And we can really kind of look at it like an open letter from a father to a son. And we've been allowed to read that letter, just like we were allowed to overhear a conversation between the Lord and Israel. And this is really was a great thing. The Lord spoke to Israel, and many were allowed to overhear that conversation. And it's a beautiful thing. We're going to pick it up right here in verse 1. The Proverbs of Solomon, the son of David, king of Israel. And these are the sayings of peace. This one that comes forth from the beloved. He is the king of Israel. 2, to know wisdom and instruction, to comprehend the words of understanding. And it's for this reason, and this is so you can know wisdom and know what instruction is, to comprehend these words of understanding, so you can have some knowledge too. 3, to receive the discipline of wisdom, justice and right and equity. To receive the discipline, and that's the correction of wisdom. That's the law the Lord gave you from the beginning. Justice, this judgment even, that comes through the understanding and the right of correct, of being right, being correct in the earth, and equity, of being equal. And these things make up your discipline. 4, to give prudence to the simple, to the young man knowledge and discretion, and to give prudence to the simple. The simple are those that haven't necessarily had the best education across time, and they are they're still searching for some understanding, some knowledge to help them, and this is to give some prudence to them, or instruction, and it's to do it in a way that doesn't offend them, and calling them out in any way, just a simple way of instruction, and letting them hear what the wise are talking about. And it's to give the young man some knowledge and discretion, because he doesn't have a lot of experiences yet in life, and this good and the bad that comes with everything. These correct decisions he'll have to make, and this is a little instruction of which way you might go, just like the Lord give us the law. 5, that the wise man may hear and increase in learning, the man of understanding may attain unto wise counsels. And it's so that the wise man can hear and be reassured and increased in learning. Even sometimes we think we know it all. We'll find out there's a whole lot to learn in the world. And these men of understanding may attain unto wise counsels. And don't ever think you know it all, because you don't. We'll find out the Lord has a way of just taking away your knowledge and inserting his own. 6, to understand a proverb and a figure, the words of the wise and their dark saying. And it's so we can understand these proverbs, these old sayings. It's so we can understand this knowledge that was passed on, even this way of speech among those of knowledge, and these figures of speech, and have the ability to understand these things, these words of the wise, these words of the knowledgeable that's been passed through time, and their dark sayings. And what we get is the consequence for what they're saying. It's a lesson, it's a teaching, and what they're doing is trying to save you from trouble. 7, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but the foolish despise wisdom and discipline. The fear, the reverence of the Lord, the reverence of Hashem, that holy name, is this beginning of knowledge. Or because why? We'll find out the Lord has given you the law. That's the beginning of knowledge. God said, that is your knowledge. That is your wisdom. That is your understanding. We have it documented in Deuteronomy. But the foolish, they despise wisdom and discipline. They don't want nothing to do with understanding. They don't want nothing to do with self-control. They want to, as we'll see, have their way, and it just doesn't work here. 8, hear, my son, the instruction of your father, and forsake not the teaching of your mother. Listen, my son, listen. This letter was 2. Listen. I mean, you're the future. Listen to your father. Don't forsake the teachings of your mother, your father. This one that gives you the life, this one who gives you these ordinances and statutes and these instructions. Don't forsake the teachings of your mother, and this pleasantness, the correctness, because that's what her job was, to teach you these with understanding, so you didn't require the discipline. 9, for they shall be a chaplet of grace unto your head, and chains about your neck. For they shall be a chaplet of grace unto your head. There's always something to give you this way, and this chaplet of grace, or this circle, this ring, this thing that goes around on your head, or even in your understandings. We'll find out it's the ordinances and statutes of the Lord. It's the law. They shall be like chains about your neck, or these beautiful ornaments that people will see and take notice of. 10, my son, if sinners entice you, consent you not. My son, if these sinners entice you, sinner is those that transgress the ordinances and statutes of the law. That's the word that God spoke in the beginning, and everybody heard. Don't consent. Don't do what they ask. 11, if they say, come with us, and let us lie in wait for blood, let us lurk for the innocent without cause. If they say, hey, let's go hurt somebody, let's go tear something up, let's go take what doesn't belong to us, we know the Lord commanded us not to do these things. He didn't just command me or you. He commanded everybody. It's in your own heart. 12, let us swallow them up alive as the grave, and whole as those that go down into the pit. Let us take everything they've got. Let us slay them and take everything they got. Just to put it short, this ain't something that we will see. That this is clearly the wicked. This is the understanding of wickedness. And to know the difference is the beginning. See, to know the difference. 13, we shall find all precious substance. We shall fill our houses with spoil. Because that's what they're looking to do. Take what somebody else has earned. Take what belongs to somebody else. And make it look like they're rich. Make it look like they have wealth. Make it look like they have understanding. We'll find they don't. 14, cast in your lot among us. Let us all have one purse. If they say, cast in your lot among us, join us. Let us all have one wealth. Let us all have this, enjoying this great wealth. This is just wickedness and evilness. We will find out. The Lord has given us the law. The Lord has given us His statutes and His ordinances, and He's instructed us in our path, and we should not deviate from that. These are those that have, and we'll see, they're taken in their own trap. 15, my son, walk not you in the way with them. Restrain your foot from their path. My son, don't walk in. Don't do that. Don't do what they're doing. Don't go after that way. Don't go down that path, because that's a path that leads to the wickedness and death and evil, and all you'll do is hurt others, and in the long run you'll destroy yourself. 16, for their feet run to evil, and they make haste to shed blood. For their feet run to evil. That's what their paths are to. Wickedness and evilness. They don't care about others. We'll find that they have fell into a pit, and they are taken in their sin, and they make haste to shed blood. They're always in a hurry to hurt somebody else. They have no respect for others, neither do they recognize them. 17, for in vain the net is spread in the eyes of any bird. For in vain, it does no good to spread your net before the sight of those that are winged. They see the net, and they simply fly away. See, that's those that have understanding. That's those that have knowledge. You spread your net, you think you're going to take them in your trap, but they can't be fooled. The Lord gives them the sight, and they fly away. But those that lay the net, 18, and these lie in wait for their own blood. They lurk for their own lives. And they don't see the net that the Lord has taken them in. For they lie in wait for their own blood, and that's exactly what they're doing in their wickedness. and they're wont to hurt others and take what they have. They're lurking for their own lives. They are in a trap. They are in a hole, so to speak. 19. So are the ways of everyone that is greedy of gain. It takes away the life of the owners thereof. And so are these ways of everyone that is greedy of gain, that everyone that wants everything they can get. It takes away the life of the owners thereof. These ones that have all that stuff will find out they'll want that and not the goodness of God, this goodness that comes through His understanding, His knowledge, and His wisdom. How much does one need? 20. Wisdom cries aloud in the streets. She utters her voice in the broad places. Wisdom, knowledge, it's the law. Cries aloud in the streets, abroad, these places where they go, all these ways and wherein they walk. Even those that are wicked, the voice stands there crying constantly. She utters her voice in these broad places, in these places that are widened, even made wider with the mercy. 21. She calls at the head of the noisy streets, at the entrances of the gates in the city. She utters her words. She calls, as she does. She stands there calling constantly. Everyone within their own self. She, we refer to her as she because she's beautiful. She's magnificent in her beauty, and it's this wisdom, it's this knowledge that God gives us all. She stands at the head of the noisy streets, these places where there's trouble, these places where there's commotion. At the entrances of the gates, these places of judgment where they go in and out. In the city, all those places that have a guard. She utters her words, and we'll find out it's going to be the truth and the law. 22. How long, you thoughtless, will you love thoughtlessness? And how long will scorners delight them in scorning, and fools hate knowledge? How long, she says, you thoughtless, you that don't take thought. You love thoughtlessness. You love not doing that. You love not being responsible for your own thoughts, for your own actions that they turn into is what it is. How long will you scorners delight in the scorning? And how long are you going to mock others, blaming it on them, when the truth is it's your fault? You're the one that's not keeping the law. You're the one that's not doing it. And fools hate knowledge, because that's who hates knowledge. That's who hates the correction of the Lord. That's who hates His wisdom, who says, well, it ain't law, it don't matter to me. No, that's fine, but you will go hurt others. This is a fool. He has no understanding. You don't want to be like this. 23. Turn you at my reproof. Behold, I will pour out my spirit unto you. I will make known my words unto you. Turn at my reproof, turn at my correction, turn at this. And behold, listen, I will pour out my spirit unto you. I will tell you what's kept me alive, what sustains me. This great knowledge and wisdom that the Lord shared with me. I will make known my words unto you. I will make known, I will cause you to hear them, and you will understand. Because I have called, and you refused. I have stretched out my hand, and no man attends. Because I have called, and these will be the wicked, those that don't listen, and you refuse. These that refuse, they don't want to hear. I've stretched out my hand, I've stretched out my work. It's a done deal. No man attended, nobody wanted to listen, nobody wanted to say, hey, what about the law? 25. But you have said it not, all my counsel, and would none of my reproof. But you have said it not. I said, all right, that's worthless. What good's that going to do? That can't do nothing. And would none of my reproof, none of this. But hey, you ain't allowed to hurt nobody. You ain't allowed to take what you got. You ain't allowed to steal. You ain't allowed to commit adultery. You ain't allowed to use the Lord's name in vain. You ain't allowed to make you idols. You ain't allowed to do this. This hurts others. Nobody wanted to listen. Nobody wants to hear it. 26. I also, in your calamity, will laugh. I will mock when your dread comes. And I also, in your calamity, because I've tried to help and nobody wanted the help, nobody needs any help. You've got it. Also will I laugh. I will mock when your dread comes. Because, see, you don't got it. You don't have it. 27. When your dread comes as a storm, and your calamity comes on as a whirlwind, when trouble and distress comes upon you, when all of it breaks down, this storm, all this confusion of the earth and all this commotion, and your calamity comes on as a whirlwind in an instant, like a tornado, like a storm reaping through, destroying everything you got when trouble and distress comes upon you. And when you're in these times that you just can't handle it, you got more than you can take. 28. Then will they call me, but I will not answer. They will seek me earnestly, but they shall not find me. That's when you call. That's when you say, hey, help me. Give me some help here. Wanting the help then, now you're looking for the Lord. Now you're needing some help. Everything's broke loose around you. There's all manner of wickedness and sin and perversion in the earth. And it's horrible. That's when you start looking for the Lord. But they won't find me. 29. For they hated knowledge and did not choose the fear of the Lord. For they hated knowledge. They don't remember it. They can't. What was knowledge? What was wisdom? What was understanding? Does anybody got it? Does anybody fear the Lord? Does anybody have any respect for Hashem, the name, the presence of God who gave you the law in your own heart in the beginning? Doesn't anybody remember? 30. They would none of my counsel. They despised all my reproof. Don't you remember? Didn't want none of my counsel. You didn't want none of what I had to say. Hey, you're not supposed to be doing that. Nobody wanted to listen. 31. Therefore shall they eat of the fruit of their own way, and be filled with their own devices. Therefore shall you eat the fruit of your own way, and not have any understanding in it. You'll say, oh, this is the way you got to go. Sure it is. Sure it is. You'll be filled with your own devices. By your own understanding you're taken in your own trap you've set for yourself. 32. For the waywardness of the thoughtless shall slay them, and the confidence of the fools shall destroy them. For the waywardness of the thoughtless, that's what slays them. The waywardness. That waywardness is from the law of God. That's from the law of Hashem, the ordinance of the Lord. Those he give you, he wrote them on your heart. That's what's going to do it. This confidence of the fools, those that think they don't have to observe, those think we don't got to do this. We can go on and tear up the earth. We can go on and tear up the world. We can destroy every generation forever. And they would, if the Lord didn't have it under control. 33. But whoso hearkeneth unto me shall dwell securely, and shall be quiet without fear of evil. But those that listen, those that want to get a little instruction, those that want to listen to the Lord and his message, those that want to hear what he's got to say. He got a lot to say, but it's very important. They shall be quiet, and without this fear of evil. Why? Well, they'll know that the Lord has everything under control. He's got this. Only problems here are those that are in them. We're going to move forward to Proverbs 2. Turn and return.